Gene?
Yeah.
Gene Redlin?
Yeah, what can I do for you?
I'm Andy. Andy Thumb. I'm a clerk over at the Golden Inn in Perryville.
Oh, yes. Mr. Thumb. Hey, have a seat here, buddy. Glad you could come by. Hope it wasn't too much trouble for you.
No. Tell me something. Is this place like that movie that Redford and, what's his name? Hoffman were in? What was that movie called?
All the President's Men?
Right. Tell me. You're digging up some kind of secret here, ain't you? That's why you called me in here, isn't it?
Well, we are investigating a few things, Mr. Thumb, yes.
I knew it. I told Norma Jean, my wife, that's why you wanted me down here. I told her just before I left, I said, just call me 007.
Yeah, well...
Of course, I don't need to stay, what do you call it, anonymous with a code name like that. No. Anything you want to print about me, you just put down there, said by Andy Thumb. Thumb. I don't mind a bit.
Well, we'll be sure to do that, then.
I'll tell you, Gene, I got some stuff you just might want to write down.
Yeah.
Ben, how are you?
Well, I'm fine, and you?
Well, considering the fact that I drove against the traffic this morning in order to see you, instead of fighting the morning rush hour to get to the hospital, why, I'd say my day has gotten off to a pretty fine start.
Oh, yeah, wow. There's just really nothing like getting a straight shot on the freeway to start your day off right.
Oh, I'll say.
I'll leave you two alone. I've got some filing to do.
She's a good lady, Ben. You should consider yourself fortunate to have her.
Oh, I do, Lester. I really do. Now, tell me, you didn't come all the way down here this morning just to get a break from the traffic? What's up?
I have some exciting news, Ben. A position's opened up at the hospital. A residency in diagnostic medicine.
So?
I wanted to talk to you about it. I'd like to offer you the position.
Thanks. Come on, Mom. You haven't told me one single juicy detail.
And I haven't given any to your nosy husband either. You know, I have to tell you, though, it was a little awkward for both of us. I mean, this was the first time that we'd really been together on a date. We spent a lot of time together, though.
Yeah. So come on, give me some highlights. Did he kiss you goodnight?
Lori!
Well, come on, it's okay. You can tell me.
Wait a minute, aren't the roles reversed here? Doesn't seem too long ago I was asking you about your dates in college.
Yeah, I know.
Well, all right. There was a moment at the front door when I sensed that he wanted to kiss me.
I knew it. I knew he would.
Honey, I hate to burst your bubble, but he backed off. Now, like I said, this was the first time we've been together without dealing with somebody else's problems. And I think we just wanted to get to know each other. And I think he felt a little uncomfortable.
Oh, no. No, I think he was just nervous. I mean, Mom, after all, it's been a long time since you and Dave have done this sort of thing.
Well, it's not something you forget how to do, you know.
Good. No, I'm serious, though. I think he really likes you. I don't even think he's realized it yet. I mean, I suspect that after the trial, since the trial's over and everything, that the romancing will now begin.
Well, I suppose.
Well, what's the matter?
Honey, you've got to realize that I've been fighting these feelings for some time now.
I know. But why fight him? I mean, it's obvious that Dave really has feelings for you.
Well, I'm not saying that he's not interested in maintaining our friendship. I'm just not sure how deep his feelings run. Although, I have to admit it was pretty nice, just knowing that he wanted to kiss me.
Thank you.
I'll bring your coffee right away, sir.
Thank you. Well, Preston, what's this bombshell you want to let loose with?
Well, it's just that I have managed to put my brother Charles in my back pocket.
What are you talking about?
It's simple. He's going to keep his eye on Courtney for us while we're in Lake Forest.
Well, if I know Charles, there's a catch in it somewhere.
In exchange, I am to see that he is awarded my seat on the board of Carpenter Shipping the day that you and Courtney are married.
Of course, that's one thing you'll never beat old Andy Thumb at, and that's guessing. Well, I can guess anything. Height, weight, married status. I can even tell how many kids a fella has.
Oh, yeah?
Well, like you, for instance. I bet you got 3 kids.
2.
See there? I was close. I don't know what it is. It just comes natural. Like, for instance...
Mrs. Thumb, excuse me, but what does this have to do with Lee Carruthers?
Well, like I was saying, I told my wife, I don't care what television's supposed to do to a fellow's weight. That Lee Carruthers has got to weigh at least, now this is no lie, at least 185 pounds.
I see.
Wouldn't you know it? When I saw him in person, the guy's got to weigh exactly that. I'd bet my gold tooth on it.
Mr. Thumb, let me ask you
Andy.
Andy. Great, Andy. So you were there when Mr. Carruthers arrived, right?
No, I didn't see him till after he came out to talk to those TV fellas.
But you were there when he checked in, right?
No, he checked in right before I come on.
What time was that?
Well, I don't rightly know.
No, I mean, not what time he came in, but what time do you usually come on duty?
Oh, 4. I work 4 a.m. to 12 noon. I love it, too. Breathing that fresh air, up at the crack of dawn.
Yeah. Let me ask you something now. It was after you got to work that Sebastian Knight arrived, right?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
We're on to something, aren't we?
Maybe.
I knew it. I guessed it. Boy, you don't pull anything over old Andy Thumb's eyes. I told Norma Jean before I left. I'd have told Dwayne, too. Oh, that's my hired help, but Dwayne's gone up to a hog auction up near Winchester. You know, he never believes me either, even though I have proved myself to be true 1,000 times.
Okay, Mr. Thumb, back to what we were saying.
Right, uh-huh.
Now, Sebastian Knight, can you remember what time he came, what time he arrived?
Well, I'm not too sure. I think 20, 30 minutes after I got there. I'd have brought the registration book, but the manager keeps it locked up.
That's no problem. We could get that if we wanted it. No, what I'm really interested in is the actual time that Sebastian Knight arrived.
I'd say 4:30. And I'm not guessing on that one. I know that to be a fact.
Why didn't you mention this position yesterday when I was in your office?
Oh, well, I wasn't at liberty to do so at the time.
You certainly were at liberty to second-guess my motives.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ben, if I insulted you. It's just that, you see, we were considering another candidate, and quite frankly, I thought the position had been filled. You see, it wasn't until this morning that I discovered the other candidate had dropped out.
And you instantly thought of me.
Well, of course. Why do I get the feeling you don't believe me? Aren't you interested?
No, listen, I believe there's a position open. But, I'm just a little confused, though.
Confused? About what?
Come on, Lester. The future of our relationship yesterday was dismal at best. Now, all of a sudden, you want to hire me. I just don't get it.
Well, now, Ben, I know we've had our problems in the past, but from my viewpoint, that's where they will stay, in the past. It's a good salary, Ben. More than you were making when you were at the hospital before, as a matter of fact. And you wouldn't even need to have full use of your hands.
Yeah, okay, I understand all that. And I can understand that whoever took this job would find it rewarding and challenging, but...
But what? I think you'd be foolish to turn it down.
Let me sleep on it, okay?
All right, but don't be too long about it because we have other candidates waiting to hear the word.
Well, then don't let me interfere with processing them. Listen, Lester, when I told you yesterday I wasn't interested in a job with you, I meant it. And not too much has changed.
I couldn't do that, not without hearing from you.
And why not?
Well, I take them one at a time, and presently you're at the top of the list.
Well, I can't promise you that I'll make a decision overnight, but you will hear from me pretty soon.
Good, good. The sooner the better. Now, and not to change the subject now, but, oh, Ben, I want to thank you for getting Nancy Lawson to drop that lawsuit against you, because at the same time, she's dropped the case against the hospital.
Well, I told you that once Dan Myers was out of the picture, she would probably do that.
Yeah, well, you were right, Martin. You were certainly right. I checked with the hospital's attorneys yesterday.
I figured you would.
Oh, I have to hand it to you, Martin, the way you tricked Dan Myers into turning tail and running. Sounded like something more that I would have done rather than you. I didn't think you had it in you, but I'm glad you did for both our sakes. I'll be waiting to hear from you about the position.
Preston, perish the thought. I mean, there's absolutely no way that Charles Carpenter is going to serve on the board at Carpenter Shipping.
Well, why not?
It's simple. The man's a buffoon. He's a moron. There are chimpanzees that make better businessmen.
Well, that's not entirely true. He has had some success as a businessman. It's only recently that it's gone to his head.
Well, that's exactly my point. I mean, the man's an egomaniac. He's greedy, to say the least. Now, you can't tell me for a minute that he's got Carpenter Shipping's best interest at heart.
Of course not. But his self-serving motivation can be used to our mutual advantage.
Oh, Preston, sometimes you amaze me with these far-fetched ideas
Look,
of
he
yours.
can be used. And he's providing a valuable service for us, to you, by keeping his eye on Courtney.
Preston, the day I need Charles
But
Carpenter...
what if she decides to stay here at college, which she seems determined to do? Now, you won't be able to get married for another 4 years, so think of that. Think of all the temptations that could lure her away from you again.
What went on with Peter Davidson won't happen again.
I don't know. She certainly has surprised me lately. That's what worries me. I don't know what goes on in her mind anymore.
Preston, Courtney's through this finding herself period. She's found it, okay? We've straightened it all out.
Given recent events, I dare to differ with you.
Preston, trust me. I've got things under control. As a matter of fact, I have a suggestion that'll ensure Courtney keeps the business in the family. I think you're going to like it.
So what is your great suggestion for ensuring Courtney's hand?
Simple, Preston. Courtney and I can be married right now.
You've got to be kidding.
Hardly. I mean, I see no reason why she should continue these games.
Games?
Yes, games. So she wanted to make a little show of her independence. She has.
This is more than a show of independence.
All right, then. She wanted to scare us a little.
And she certainly succeeded.
Yes. Not without its price.
What are you talking about?
Well, for whatever reason, Courtney wanted to experience the simple life. I mean, despite its mediocrity. But now I think she's ready to return to the fold of the more fortunate. Not to mention a loving relationship with me.
Are you suggesting that her whole relationship with Peter Davidson is nothing more than a charade?
I'm suggesting that it was part of the game she's playing. And she was using Davidson to win my affections once and for all.
If you believe that, then you just don't know my daughter.
Preston, if you knew your daughter, you would have never let her come here.
I couldn't stop her. She is serious about an education. Look, that is not just a game with her.
Oh, and I suppose it's not part of some game that, given the fact she had the choice of the best colleges in the country, she chooses this hole in the wall.
Perhaps, but she's still serious about her studies. But what's more important, she is not ready psychologically for marriage.
With the proper inducements, she'll change.
Did it ever occur to you that I don't want her to be married so soon? You ever think of that? And in the meantime, don't be telling me what I can and can't do with my seat on the board of Carpenter Shipping. I have a provision with your father that expresses I can do what I want with that seat, and that's exactly what I intend to do. Waitress,
wait a minute. That news conference was at 4 in the morning. Now, Lee was obviously there, but he said that Sebastian was there, too.
No, not according to our friend at the front desk. Because according to him, there was no way that Sebastian could have gotten there in time to hear Lee's opening speech.
Well, does that mean that Lee was lying?
You tell me, buddy.
There's got to be some way to prove this. Hey, could you track down some of those reporters that were there and check with them to find out if Sebastian did indeed arrive late?
Well, perhaps, but you have to understand. I mean, even if he did come late, they wouldn't have necessarily noticed that. I mean, he could have quietly taken a seat while all of those reporters were bombarding Lee with all these questions.
Yeah, you're right. No offense, but when you reporters start asking questions, I think the only time you stop is to blink.
Yeah, I guess we do concentrate on one thing at a time. But you know something? This made me think of something.
What?
There was a book. Yeah. There was a book written once. It was called The Camera Never Blinks. Now, it's true that the reporters could have been oblivious to what was going on, but there just might be some video footage lying around that could have covered the whole picture, if you know what I mean.
Right. Why didn't we think of that sooner?
You know what? I think I'm going to stop by WRD and go over some of that video footage, see if they'd let me into the video library. I'm sure they must have covered the event. I'll get that. I got to get going anyway, buddy.
Yeah, okay.
I will see you later.
Phillips.
Hey!
Whoa. Well, I know what you're thinking. You got the wrong guy. That's my brother.
I know you, man.
That's right. It's my brother's Lance. Despite his advanced press, we're only alike in looks. Okay?
Yeah. Well, thank goodness for that. I have to talk to you sometimes. Right now, I've got something urgent to do.
All right. It's been a pleasure.
Jeremy, what brings you here?
Well, I got some great news for you, Dr. Phillips.
Lester Lewis is going to give you a full-time position.
Yeah, it'd be full time.
But isn't that going to cut into all your time here at the clinic, Ben?
Well, let's just say that's not my greatest concern right now. I mean, you know how I've been feeling about this place for some time. You see, I'm a little more perplexed about something Lester said.
Yeah, well, I would be too. I mean, one minute he's booting you out of his office, and the next minute
No, it's not that. That's not what I mean.
Well, I don't understand.
Well, he said something that really stuck. It hit home.
Well, what?
Well, he couldn't get over how we tricked Dan Myers into showing his true colors. And I told him yesterday about how we pulled it off, and he said then, and he said again today, that it sounded like something he would do, not I.
Oh.
You see, Lori, that really bothers me.
Yeah, it bothers me too.
I mean, if our little scam was something that Lester would do, then that means it was probably something we shouldn't have done. See, I know Lester. I know how that sucker thinks. Oh, and I just don't want us to be on the same wavelength.
Look, Ben, just because he complimented you for outfoxing Dan Myers does not mean that you are like him or that the two of you are anything alike. You're two different people.
Yeah, I know that. I know that, believe me. I don't know, maybe tricking Dan Myers was a mistake. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was wrong the way we handled it.
Yeah, maybe it was wrong. I mean, we've talked about that. But look where Nancy would be if we hadn't have done it.
Yeah?
I mean, she would be swindled out of her money. She would be divorced again. Look, yeah, we wanted her to drop the suit, but we also wanted to help her. We wanted to show her who Dan Myers was before it was too late, and she was thankful. You know, she told you that personally. Right?
Right. Lori, I thank God for you.
So, there's your antique Bible.
Hey, and growing older every day.
That's beautiful, isn't it? A rare treasure.
Well, I hope your auction brings the money you anticipated.
It will. I'm sure of that. It's already been officially accepted by the committee.
Well, great. Hey, how about a cup of coffee?
No, thank you.
Well, sit down then. You know, it's a shame that the value for most people lie in its age rather than the wisdom between the pages.
That's true. Look, read some of our research.
All right. The Dar es Salaam Bible actually originated in the Black Forest of southern Germany. Sources have traced it to the
Wolfmeyer
Monastery, where it's rumored to have been tied to Martin Luther's Reformation Germany. Really? Is that true?
Yeah, as far as I've been able to find out.
Oh. After a series of plunderings by Spanish and English merchants, Moor pirates, and even Roman priests over the centuries, the Bible most recently fell into the hands of King Dar Salam of Doria, a ruler for nearly 23 years of this newly formed nation. King Dar Salam gave the Bible as a gift to the now-deceased Kate Carruthers. The Kingsley Museum has been granted permission by Dave Phillips, etc. I didn't know the history of this thing.
I know. Well, like I said, that's all I've been able to find out. It's a little sparse. I was wondering maybe if you might have remembered Kate mention anything about the Bible.
I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Well, do you know why the king would leave her a Bible that's worth possibly over $25,000?
Again, I don't know. I never really met the king. As I told you at lunch the other day, well, Kate met him after our divorce, when she was doing some international goodwill work. I didn't hear about him or the Bible until she left it to me in the will.
I see. Well, anyway, all the money we raise will go for a good cause.
Well, that's all I wanted. But as for me personally, I'll stick to the more practical, usable size.
Well, here it is. Now, this is all raw stock. We're going to use this as source material during the campaign. And believe me, man, we shot a lot of it.
Good, good. Okay, now let me ask you something. Do you have the log sheets for this?
No, we threw those away.